bars got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. The sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Let me get that up and running again. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Not that anyone really wants to see my ugly mug, but it is the way we normally do things around here. Welcome and salute. It is today's Wednesday, isn't it? Boy, we're halfway through it. My goodness. Well, here we are. Cheers, everyone. Glad you could all be here. Looks like CK is the first one in today, saying greetings. The longest running superhero RPG on Earth, saying smash the like button. Yeah, do all the clicky things. Subscribe, another clicky thing. Comment, that's a clicky thing you could do. That would really encourage the heck out of me. And Connie Cleary, Birdwoman of YouTube, Fluff Chick Productions. Wonderful Blue Wrench. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, Wade of Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Welcome, my friend. He's over there on the green machine, which I appreciate because that lets me know that the chat function is interacting with the green machine, because I've been having getting some weird messages here on the platform, implying that I can't get and send messages to the green machine, but the streams have been going up every day, and so it's good to see that you are able to comment over there and I can see them. And he repeats it over here on the YouTube as well. Thank you so much, my friend. Suzanne saying hello. Good to see you. Samuel Proctor says, let's see here. Breaking news. The YouTuber Mauler is premiering his part 5 critique of The Force Awakens in an hour. Something we've been waiting for 3 years. The long man has returned. Yeah. Interesting. And as I remember, yeah, those do tend to be like an hour. So that's like 5 hours talking about a 2-hour movie that sucked. So that's an interesting take. That's an interesting take. My son is in here listening, and he says the music makes him imagine sitcom intros, but not with Troy, Netter, etc., in a freeze frame. There you go. Oh, but with Troy Netter, etc., in a freeze frame. Yeah, I'm sure that definitely influenced how I put things together. Let's face it, the whole shtick behind Last Call, there's a good spattering of cheers, right? Where everyone knows your name and all that kind of stuff. But when you say a sitcom opening, you've got to be talking from like pre 1990 or so, because ever since then, the openings for shows have gotten shorter and shorter. Eventually, it had no lyrics. Eventually, it's boom, 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 and that's it. That's your intro. I mean, that's literally the Seinfeld intro, you know? Full House style. Yeah, I can dig that. Or how about Too Many Cooks from the Comedy Central? Let's see. Jonathan Conroy says, "Hail all." Oh, I thought I brought him up, but I didn't. Hail all! Smash the like button and enjoy the show. Yes, thank you so much. My comment got deleted. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Were you that early? Happy Wednesday, Liquid Lunchers. Have a great stream, Troy. Rest in peace, Gil Gerard. Yes. I am realizing that one of the downsides to being the, I don't know, the messenger of death, I suppose, is what I've kind of become with Geeky Geezers. But when I find out someone that I had admired in my childhood has died, I oftentimes will go to X to see, like the announcement or whatever. And honestly, there's some people you just don't want to see what their feed looks like. You just don't. Don't meet your heroes and don't follow them on social media is all I can say. And that's really it, right? In a way, with these celebrity deaths, we're kind of mourning the character they played more than we're actually mourning them in most cases. You think you know these people because you know them as that character, and they're nothing like that behind the scenes. They're just not. I love Troy's take on DCU talk. Fair enough. Oh no, they're much longer than that. His Force Away. Yeah, that's what I mean. Sometimes those long analyses are really good. You know, Michael French over on Retro Blasting has some really good ones. He's got one for Rogue One, and he's got one for The Dial of Dysentery. Both are actually better than the movies he's talking about. Star Wars Outlaws videos was 17 hours. Wow. Let's see here. Kapla, got a lurk. That's fair. That's perfectly fair. I understand. Troy is my hero. I hear that in Cameron's voice from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. Anyway, let's get right into it because we have, yes, Too Many Cooks. See, you knew what I was talking about. I kind of look like that guy, don't I? You know, if I like googly my eyes a little bit, you know. Troy is such a Cassandra. Well, there's a couple ways I can take that. And if you mean Cassandra as in the Cassandra principle, someone who predicts the future and is never listened to but is always right, that's how I feel many, many times. Ask Mark Melnikoff. He'll tell you that he's one of the few who has learned to actually pay attention. When I say something that sounds really bizarre, a prediction for the future, he now pays attention and doesn't dismiss it out of hand. He says, "I'm the Alex Jones of the pop culture sphere." Okay, that's fair. I'll take that. Turning the frogs gay. Anyway, let's get to it. I have a lot to cover today, and not a lot of time to do it in. I know that's what Culture Casino says, and he tries to do it in 6 minutes, and I have now 45 minutes, but let's see how much I can actually get said. Let me share my screen without the sound. No, I don't need sound. Share. So let's get to it. Warner Brothers rejects Paramount offer as POTUS pulls support, but behind the scenes, far more is happening. There's a lot right there in the title. This is WTF Wednesday. And I have, let me see if yes, you can see this. You can see all the tabs down the board that I have. Now, I think that this one here kind of covers most of it, so I won't have to spend a whole lot of time on those other tabs, but each one of those covers a different segment of what this just said, and it's like, oh my gosh, wow. Okay, let's get into it. Jared Kushner's Affinity Partners exited its role as a financial backer of Paramount's Skydance aggressive bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The news landed on the same info cycle as renewed public criticism of President Donald Trump aimed at Paramount's new Ellison-led ownership orbit, an overlap that reads less like coincidence and more like a pressure point in a rapidly politicized mega deal environment. Let me preface this a little bit. I am not going to say I don't get political on this channel, because let's be honest, I absolutely do. I don't think anybody is surprised if I share a political opinion. I think everyone knows what side of center I fall on, and that I am not terribly far off of center, but I do have the people I support, the people that I don't like. But I consider myself to be very intellectually honest. I am not one of those ditto heads that, yay, everything for the guy that I voted for, and boo, everything for the opposition. I do have critical thinking skills, and I can tell you that that Donald Trump sometimes does some good things, sometimes says some good things, and sometimes he just needs to get his head out of his ass. I also feel that politicians, and that now includes President Trump. I used to think he was an outlier who was above all that. He is not. He has fallen to the same political whimsy that so many others have. One other president whom I agreed with more than you might think that I did was President Clinton, and he was notorious for not making executive decisions and doing this to see what people were saying. There's a little bit of good in that he's representing his constituents, so you want to do what the people say, but at the same time, you need to be a leader and you need to be decisive, and you also need to be discerning about the voices you're listening to. Some of them are critical and deserve to be listened to, and some are just being jerks, and you should ignore them. And you should have the wisdom to know the difference. I do not believe that Trump has demonstrated the wisdom to know the difference. He will go one way, and then he will get slapped by public opinion, and he'll suddenly change 180 degrees. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. and I don't think he knows the difference. I don't think politics should be playing as big a role as it does in this, but I'm also a realist, and I understand that it does. Let's get back to this. First, I do want to acknowledge a question here. I'm curious, did your parents happen to be fans of Homer? Are we talking about Homer as in the Iliad or Homer as in Simpson? It depends. And in both cases, I guess the answer is no. So I don't... Oh, because of the name Troy. Homer as in the Iliad then, yeah. No. Troy Donahue. On December 7th. And not that I'm saying that my mom named me after Troy Donahue, just that she knew the name Troy from Troy Donahue, and she thought it was unique. She also wanted to give me a name that was short enough that it couldn't be shortened any further. I even had a conversation with a buddy in grade school who said, I want to give you a nickname, but I can't shorten your name. What am I going to call you? Oi? You know, I mean, you can't do it. I said, that's exactly why my mom did it. She didn't want people shortening my name. My name is Troy, and there it is. Anyway, let's get back to it. October 17th, 2025, Warner Brothers Discovery Board signaled rejection of Paramount Skydance hostile offer, pointing to what it characterized as inadequate, non-binding financing assurance and elevated execution risk, while reiterating its preference for a binding Netflix transaction. That actually sounds kind of fair when you think about it. Netter's going, oi, that one makes sense to her. I don't blame her. I do not blame her. In parallel, reporting indicates Affinity Partners withdrew its backing from Paramount Skydance posture in a takeover fight, a move widely interpreted as both financial and political setback because Kirshner's presence functioned as an implicit bridge into the Trump administration ecosystem. Yeah, big T. Yeah. Little known fact about me, at least here on the YouTubeosphere. Bocelli is not the last name that I was born with. But if you've been paying attention, you'll notice I refer to my mother as being Italian and my father as being a redneck who claims to be of Irish descent. Obviously, his last name was not Bocelli. My dad's last name, hand to God, I kid you not, was Tom Collins. Yes, like the drink. And I think it was predestined. But I took my mother's maiden name when they got divorced. A lot of family crap that goes into that. But so in grade school, my initials were TC, which is how a lot of my grade school friends started to refer to me, as the reruns of the cartoon Top Cat were popular again in the late 70s and early 80s. So they all referred to me as TC. And welcome, Jedi Master. Good to see you, my friend. I just asked because I never met anyone named Troy before you, and now I am really getting into the Iliad. Interestingly, I have known two other people in my life who were named Troy, both through sci-fi conventions, and both were black men. I just a similarity that they had that doesn't mean anything or matter, just by coincidence. The only other two people I knew named Troy happened to have been black. Although, from what I've seen online, apparently Troy is common among white preppies. So I'm surprised I don't know any of them. So whatever. That reminds me, would you be opposed to a chain of restaurants in my game that would be called the Bocelli? Well, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to anything you do in your game, but like Pacelli's Pizza, something like that, meant as a good thing. Well, you know who you should, next time you see him in the chat, talk to about that is Mark Malnikoff, because he does model railroads, and he has a Pacelli, I don't remember if it was Pacelli Mercantile or Pacelli Distributors, but it's a business from which a bunch of train things go out of. So maybe in your universe there's a Pacelli who is involved in trucking and distribution and foods and restaurants. Could be. I could see that. Maybe and maybe not have some affinity with some less than reputable businesses. Or he could just be an honest businessman. I have a cousin named Troy. There you go. I just thought of a nickname for you, Troy. Ilium. Yes, I always said that I'm not going to end up having a gravestone when I die, but if I did, you know how they always used to have quotes on it? I would just want Fuit Ilium. I think that would be perfect on my gravestone. And Merry Christmas to you, Jedi Master. Thank you for being here. I am way too behind. I really got to get back to this. So, yes. Let's see. As the center of the political cross current is the Ellison family. Larry Ellison is a major power broker and Oracle founder, and David Ellison as the executive driving Paramount Skydance. They're in the crosshairs of a White House that has signaled its views consolidation in media and streaming, not merely as antitrust math, but as leverage-bearing terrain. Warner's broad in rejecting Paramount's bid explicitly pushed back on the notion that Paramount's proposal carried superior regulatory certainty through political connections, undercutting a key selling point that hostile bidders often rely on when attempting to dislodge an already signed merger agreement. I think there's other problems legally with this merger agreement, but be that as it may. Meanwhile, Trump's own rhetoric about Paramount CBS, particularly in the context of grievances tied to 60 Minutes, has been publicly negative towards the Ellison-associated Paramount regime, adding a volatility to any narrative that political certainty is inherently additive for the Ellisons right now. For the Ellisons and their hunt to pick up Warner Brothers Discovery as an asset, this is a heck of a problem. A huge part of their effort to defeat Netflix has come from their argument that they face far fewer regulatory hurdles as well as a friendly White House. Yeah, so you could argue they maybe don't have as friendly a White House as it might seem. I also think that Trump, as president, really has no business allowing personal feelings to get into the matter here. That's kind of dirty pool. I would say that for him. I would say that for any other president, Republican or Democrat. You need to enforce the law. That's your job, and and you do it without bias. The scales of justice. Her eyes are covered. She's blind. That's the way it ought to be. But be that as it may, especially when you hear him talking about how he's pushing for, what was it, Rush Hour 4? It's like, why do we care what you want? I want Alita too. What's your point? We do fake. wait a minute. Why is there we go? We do fake restaurants like Big Belly Burger, but don't have an Italian restaurant. So I thought it might be a nice nod to you since we are friends. I would love that. I would be fired up about that. That would be awesome. But like I said, you might because even with Big Belly Burgers, there's a whole back history and lore about it and so forth. And every time someone uses it, they add a little bit to it. I've seen representations of the Big Belly Burger menu. So you might want to think about Pacelli. He's not only in the restaurant business, but he also is has a food distribution arm, and because he's got that diversity, maybe people have wondered if he and he does tend to know some things. His organization might put it in touch with Teamsters that know some things that might help with your investigations. Whether or not they're directly involved, you don't know. Maybe he just knows some things. Since the song, oh wait, this is not Doomcock. No, but he's a great guy. Tune in to Pop Culture Breakdown tonight for Doomcock. Absolutely. Good. Guys are doing what I say. Together we grow. The scales of justice should be blind, like Ray Charles. Yeah, exactly. Troy would be hot and ready to see that restaurant. Yeah, I would. Here's another backstory for you. Pacelli started his restaurant because because just like that line from The Untouchables, where the main character, I'm forgetting his name, said when it used to be you'd go into an Italian restaurant and order pasta marinara and you'd get egg noodles and ketchup. That didn't happen as a made man. You'd get the good stuff. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact line. But that line really hit me hard because as a kid, I remember the food that my grandmother would make was incredible. I'd go and order the same thing at an Italian restaurant. It was terrible. The sauce was too sweet. The calamari was either overcooked or undercooked. So I could totally see starting a restaurant in order to serve Italian food the way my Nona made it. And you guys are talking back and forth, and that's good, but I need to focus here. For the Ellisons, their hunt to pick up Warner Brothers Discovery as an asset. This is a heck of a problem. A huge part of their effort to defeat Netflix has come from their argument that they face fewer regulatory hurdles and have a friendly White House on their side. And this, the most plausible strategic read is that the Trump family and Trump political operations are attempting to convert that volatility into bargaining power with Larry and David Ellison, especially as, that's absolutely clear. Trump says, oh, you want my help? Well, maybe I want your help with this whole news related thing. Get on that, people. That's why when he throws out a line, everyone keeps saying they're my friends. With friends like them, who needs enemies? That says a lot, even before the Kirshner feud funding reversal. Oh, and who is Kirshner? That's Donald Trump's son-in-law, right? Reporting around these competing Warner Brothers scenarios suggested direct high-level political outreach. Reuters reported that Larry Ellison called Trump after the Netflix Warner Brothers agreement and announced to argue the deal would harm competition. Taken together, 1, Trump's public criticism of the Ellisons linked Paramount CBS posture. 2, the demonstrated willingness to deal principles to engage the White House directly on competitive framing. And 3, Kirshner's removal as a convenient interlocutor. This looks like a classic negotiation squeeze. Reduce the counterpart's easy access to the administration while amplifying reputational and regulatory uncertainty, thereby increasing the price of stability. From that perspective, the Kirshner pullout is not just a financing headline, it changes the signaling architecture around influence. When Infinity Partners involved, Paramount Skydance could implicitly suggest a friendly channel to the administration at the exact moment regulators and marketers were asking whether politics would shape outcome in a historic media consolidation. Oops, I'm on the wrong thing here. When that channel disappears, the Ellisons become more directly exposed to Trump's public posture. And the implicit message that favorable regulatory tone or even merely quieter rhetoric is contingent on cooperation. This is the core of the leverage extraction argument. Trump's negative statements function as the cost of doing business without a negotiated detente. And the timing, coincident with the Ellison's pursuit of a defining acquisition, maximizes negotiation leverage precisely when deal counterparties crave certainty. None of this requires a formal quid pro quo to be effective. A high-stakes Washington adjacent transaction, the mere prospect of polarized scrutiny can move boardroom behavior, financing appetite, and shareholder confidence. Warner's rejection letter and coverage around it show how quickly financing certainty and credibility become the decisive narrative weapons in a hostile contest, especially when the rival is already locked into a binding agreement with credible funding commitments. In that setting, Trump world influence becomes less about winning an argument on antitrust doctrine and more about controlling the ambient risk premium about the Ellison ambitions. And there's what I was saying. We have antitrust laws. They should be enforced blindly, without prejudice. This is telling me the prejudice is probably more important. If the Ellisons want to keep swinging at Warner scale targets, the Trump family's best play is to remind them publicly that the White House can raise the temperature at will and that relief from that heat is negotiable. Ultimately, both sides are looking at each other for something to gain. For the Ellisons, they want the greatest portfolio in the entertainment landscape. For the president, he wants favorable media coverage on both CBS and CNN. He wants transformative change in the news arena, and he does not currently perceive. What happens next is likely to hinge on whether the Ellison camp can replace Kirshner's Kirshner-linked capital with equally credible and less politically sensitive financing and keep the White House from framing the Ellison media aspirations as adversarial to Trump's interests. Warner's board has already signaled that it views Paramount's approach as structurally weaker than Netflix's and has urged shareholders accordingly, meaning the window for a clean, credible, rich counterpunch is narrowing. If the Ellisons' broader strategic goal remains buy scale at the top of the stack, the political layer is no longer ancillary. It is now part of the purchase price. And there you go. That's from WDW Pro over at that Park Place. I'm well past due for the promos. Let me do that because my drink is half empty. And we'll pick this up on the other side. Be right back in just under 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This Thursday night, Netter sits down with Tom Connors of Midnight's Edge, and specific to this conversation, Midnight's Edge After Dark. They'll talk about certain YouTube chicanery, what it means for all your favorite YouTube channels, and the future of Midnight's Edge After Dark. Join us for this very special episode this Thursday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
This week on Big Al Presents Films with Friends. The Muppets put their spin on the tale of an elder Christmas-hating miser who is visited by spirits who foretell his future and share secrets from his past and present, which helps change his view on life. Michael Caine and Jim Henson's Muppets star in the Christmas classic, The Muppet Christmas Carol, on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, this Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Last Call with Troy Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it elsewhere, but Boomer and Pacelli spin it like only two old geezers can. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
When the Countess of Morcar's priceless blue carbuncle is stolen, a reformed thief is charged with the crime. Newspaper reports have reported the theft of the unique blue stone from a local hotel, but on Christmas Eve it is discovered, having found its way down the gullet of a goose, and Sherlock Holmes can't resist solving the mystery of how it got to its final destination. It's The Blue Carbuncle. This week on Last Call Presents The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Where was that? There it is. Jedi Master is saying our judicial system is so corrupt in the state and federal levels, it's a hot mess. This is true, and I will tell you that I would say 75% of the corruption in all areas of government could be alleviated if one, the various sides of the aisle were not in cahoots, covering for each other because they wanted to protect their own ability to be corrupt, and the enforcement of existing laws. Every time laws are not enforced and something happens, everyone gets all up in arms about it and say, we should do something about this. What do you want to do? We already have laws to cover this. When judges are legislating from the bench, they are supposed to be impeached. That's what impeachment is supposed to be for. Remove the bad actors. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't understand a Congress that sees a judiciary usurping their authority and not doing something about it. That's what the checks and balances are supposed to be for. No, they're too busy trumping up charges on a president that go nowhere. I'd like to find a good Italian restaurant. You and me both, FKHC 2005. Netter and I had found a wonderful little Italian restaurant in Schaumburg. Went out of business. It became a sports bar. I saw another one while we were out and about the other day I'm going to look into, but don't have very, very high hopes. Best Italian restaurant that I know of in Chicago is Italian Village. It is in the city proper, so Netter and I don't go there anymore. But the picture that you see of me, some people have called it the mafioso photo. It's my ex photo. You see it as my icon oftentimes when I'm not on camera. That picture was taken at Italian Village by Netter on my birthday. Yes. The Mediterraneans know how to prepare squid, octopus, all the fishes, all the things that if you don't cook them right are going to taste like rubber bands. Let's see. these media companies have gotten way too big. I agree with you. This is why we have antitrust laws that need to be enforced. Media has become propaganda farms, which Trump, is right in pointing out about CBS and CNN. So in that regard, I understand him poking back at the Ellisons on that. Got to run some errands. Take care, Jedi Master. Thank you for stopping by. Super appreciate you. Perfectly understandable. I've had that problem. Heck, Culture Casino was having that problem during his stream. People kept getting the spinning circle. Working and lurking, smashing the like for the algorithms. Thank you so much, Flapper. Fletcher Williams. So glad. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. And let's get back to this. I'm going to go through these really quick because we've got less than 15 minutes now. So let me bring back the share screen. I'm not going to spend any time on this, but Variety goes into a little bit more depth on Trump blasts the Ellisons amid their Warner Brothers bid. If they are friends, I'd hate to see my enemies. Again, I think WDW Pro did a great analysis of that, so we probably don't need to get into this one at all. Kirshner's Affinity Partners exits Paramount bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Again, Kirshner is Trump's son-in-law, so that does put Paramount on a back heel again, because Kirshner was a major financial contributor to the deal that they offered, and unless they could find other financial means, it's not as done a deal. But there you go. So we don't need to spend any more time on that. Paramount sticks to $30 a share offer for Warner Brothers Discovery after Warner Brothers Discovery board rebuffs hostile bid. Now, as I had said previously, I anticipated this. This is another one of those Troy was right, I said that because Paramount perceived itself to be in a better position, and until Trump decided to turn on them, and yeah, I'm being pretty critical on that. That is effectively what he did. I'm not saying it's without merit. I'm just saying he did do it, and that does change the maths now. But at the time, Paramount was in the best position with the best offer for the entire kit and caboodle. And so I said what's going to happen is Warner Brothers goes with Netflix, and Paramount waits, calls dirty pool. They went to the Warner Brothers shareholders and said, we're offering you more that isn't going to have the same amount of regulatory scrutiny, so you get your money sooner. You have a fiduciary duty here, Zaslav. And they were in a good position. And I said, what the way things looked at that point, the Netflix deal was going to become a little rocky, and they were going to come back to Paramount, and Paramount wasn't going to budge because they were going to say, you realize we'd already given you the best offer. No reason for us to go higher. Maybe we go lower. Well, those maths have changed now because they don't have the certainty that they did, and they don't have the financial backing they did without Kirshner. But right now, they're holding at $30 a share, which is still very generous for Warner Brothers. He's a duty. This rate, Disney should buy Warner. That would not happen. They would face even more scrutiny than Netflix would at this point. And I don't think Disney has the financial backing to do it. They certainly don't have their own cash to work from. So actually, I don't even need to go into this Variety. Why Warner Brothers Discovery, and this one is from New York. Was this New York? New York Post. Shareholders shouldn't count on a holiday bidding war. This one is interesting. Yes, I wish I could have DC seen a return to how things used to be, but I just don't see it happening. I feel DC and Marvel are screwed. And that has as much to do with bad modern writing in comics and even worse writing in Hollywood. But yeah. Paramount and Skydance has Paramount Skydance has no immediate plans to sweeten its $30 a share all-cash bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, instead continuing to make its case to shareholders that a $78 billion offer is superior to the company's current deal with a streaming giant Netflix, the Post has learned. Paramount Skydance owner David and Larry Ellison and their partners at Redbird Capital are expected to immediately tell shareholders that they will commit to eventually covering the deal's $2.8 billion breakup fee, or about $1 per share, preserving their all-cash bid if enough investors tender their shares in favor of Paramount deal by its January 8th deadline, my birthday. Many investors, I'm on the wrong thing here. Many investors and even people inside Warner Brothers Discovery expected a bidding war to emerge after the Skydance went hostile last week, appealing directly to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders to reject the company's decision to sell the Warner Brothers studio and HBO to Netflix at $27.75 a share. Bidding war talk heated up Tuesday now that Warner Brothers is on the verge of formally calling on investors to reject Paramount Skydance hostile bid for the entire company. Sources say Warner Brothers Discovery is planning to make a formal filing possibly as early as Wednesday, arguing why shareholders should stay the course with Netflix. Their argument will mainly center on the lack of certainty with the financing sources Paramount Skydance is relying on to upend the Netflix deal. But sources close to Paramount Skydance and their investing partners at Redbird Capital say there is nothing uncertain about their financing. So that seems to be an indication that even with the Trump, what's his name, the son-in-law, I just said his name a little bit ago, with him pulling out, they still have alternate financing, is what they seem to be saying here. The feeling inside Paramount Skydance is they don't have to do anything immediately, and they have to be disciplined based on the feedback from investors, said one person with direct knowledge of the matter. They have yet to be convinced that Netflix has a better offer, and the feedback for the $30 all-cash bid has been positive. This person pointed to recent comments by famed media investor Mario Gabelli, who has already said he will tender his WBD shares with the letter W having so many syllables. It's not anything shorter to say WDB than Warner Brothers Discovery, for Paramount's all-cash bid instead of Netflix's deal, which is tied up in stocks, complex financing, and subject to lengthy regulatory delays. Gabelli has no problem with the company tapping the Persian Gulf for some of its equity, one of the moves cited by Warner Brothers Discovery for rejecting its offer. I want the money for my clients, and I want it quicker, Gabelli told On the Money. Reps for Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Skydance had no immediate comment. Paramount Skydance is arguing it lined up credit lines from Bank of America, Apollo, Larry Ellison. As of now, will chip in $12 billion in cash, and the Gulf State funds will contribute another $24 billion in equity. The sovereign funds are putting up the money without board seats or a say in managing the new company if Paramount Skydance should win, sources say. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Executives at Paramount Skydance also argued their deal's regulatory certainty, since Netflix could be combining those streaming assets. Something that they will likely touch off a lengthy Department of Justice antitrust investigation and uncertainty in the courts. Remember, that's going to happen regardless of Trump's feelings on the matter. Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix have countered that the regulatory fears are overdone because so many people rely on social media and YouTube as opposed to streaming for programming. They also have argued and will argue again but see, that's apples and oranges. The whole point of antitrust, isn't we're going to break up the phone company because so many other people have access to text and other internet options and satellite, and it doesn't matter. We're looking at just one specific area of business, and you have a monopoly there. I don't care that there are other options. There aren't other options within that specific area of business. That's how it works. Larry Ellison, the third richest person in the world with a net worth of $235 billion, has committed to fully backstop the deal I have no doubt that if if everybody pulled out, he would still be able to come up with the cash himself. So it's not a question of the funds. Moreover, he's not personally backstopping the deal, they argue, but he's pledging assets from his revocable trust. Paramount Skydance says the argument doesn't hold water because the trust is where Ellison keeps his massive net worth and has been used as a vehicle for other deal making. A lot of posturing going on here. A lot of posturing that I question how much of it means anything and how much of it is just peacocks puffing up their feathers. But, and this is not stock advice, never take stock advice from someone on the internet, even if they claim to be a stock expert, which I insist I absolutely am not. This is just a snapshot I took of the Netflix stock today, specifically highlighting the drop-off since December 1st. A little bit of an uptick, a little as of this morning when I took this screenshot, it was up 96 points from a few days earlier, but that's still a far cry from where it was at the beginning of the month, which is also a very far cry from where it was in mid-August. So take from that what you will. My personal take on that is that investors as a whole have taken all this information that I've just shared with you, weighed it out, and are saying, we don't want Netflix to get it. We don't believe Netflix is going to get it. We're not entirely certain that the Ellisons are going to win out here. But there is volatility in the market as a result. How about Warner Brothers? So this is I'm going to tell you the same. Again, don't take any investment advice from a fat bald Italian guy on the internet. But I will say that the same thing I said when people were talking about $1 a share for CW. People were like, I could afford that. Just keep in mind, you're not just buying the assets of the company, you're also buying its debt. The CW deal did not look like a good deal. The fact that I forget who it was that bought CW has actually turned it around and done a good job with it, made it profitable. Well, here's to them. Most of us couldn't do that. Most of us were so laser focused on the DC properties, we weren't seeing, the bigger picture. I think a lot of investors operate that way. So we'll see what happens. And if it was rejected, I bet someone will sue over it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly the way it works. You understand how it works. Well, guys, that was my WTF for today. There's a lot going on. And once again, despite all of these tabs, it still looks like the most complete picture came to us from that Park Place and WDW Pro. So just saying, not all sources are built the same. So support those who support you, support those putting out the information you need and want, like myself, perhaps. If you're here, you must enjoy what I'm doing. You must think that I deserve support. Members, I know you already support me, and you guys are going to be seeing your names up on the screen in just a moment in the closing credits, because you are the producers of this show. And everyone, please hit the like button, share out the streams. Yes, Joe. WTF. Share out the streams like Joe does on a very, very regular and consistent basis. And specifically tell your friends to subscribe. Tell them to subscribe. Don't just have them come and watch a show. Tell them to come and subscribe. That's all I'm asking you to do. When you come and you think you might want to come back again, hit subscribe. It really, really does make a difference. So I am not on Doomcock tonight, but I may very well be in the chat, as you should be as well. Tomorrow night over on Netter's Network, I will be on the panel as she talks with Tom Connors about the chicanery that's going on with YouTube. Friday night, Boomer and I will be talking about, we're still loving the scary ghost stories, right? We're going to be talking about Christmas urban legends. And there you go. That is the week. I've got a bunch of videos that need editing. I know you guys are like, well, where are your standalone videos? All you do is live stream. I'm working on them. I promise you I'm working on them. I'm trying my best to get them out. And so speaking of getting back to work, you guys get back to work. Whatever you had going on today, go do it. You guys take care of yourselves, stay healthy, stay hydrated, drink responsibly, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.